Hey guys, new gardeners are always asking me what kind of compost bin they should buy. The ones that you can buy, most of them are really good, they work just fine, but the problem you're going to have is that they're too small and they don't hold everything you're going to want to put in them from your garden. What I recommend is building your own compost bin. In this video, I'm going to show you how to make your own compost bin at home, and it's only going to cost you about $30. Stick around. This is In the Garden. Welcome. Whether you're a first-time viewer or a returning subscriber, I'm glad you're here. This is In the Garden, where I share tips and tools to help new gardeners be successful in backyard vegetable gardening. Today, we're talking about compost, specifically how to build your own compost bin at home, and it's only going to cost about $30. Composting is a really great way to just keep nutrients in your garden. And it's also a really great way to not be wasteful and sending extra stuff to the landfill that you could just be putting back into your garden and repurposing those nutrients. It's a really good way just to do your part in being sustainable here in the desert. If you're brand new to composting and you're just watching this video, you have no idea what composting is yet, make sure you watch my video where I talk about how to start composting, where I talk about what things you can put in it and how it all works and the whole process that way. Make sure you go and watch that video after this one. The whole point of a compost bin is just to keep everything together. The ones that you buy at the store, a lot of those are designed specifically to get super hot or to keep moisture in certain ways, but you really don't need all that. You just need something to keep your pile in a pile, because really a compost bin is a compost pile. The compost bin we're going to build today is really simple. It's just 4 posts, 1 in each corner, and it's wrapped around with hardware cloth or chicken wire. I'm going to be using chicken wire in my example because I already have some on hand. So let's get started and I'll show you how to build your own. You're only going to need a couple of things to build your own compost bin. You're going to need some kind of a post, either a wood post or a plastic one, whatever you can find, whatever you're comfortable using will work just fine. And then you're also going to need some kind of a screen, chicken wire, hardware cloth, any kind of a screen to go around the outside. The first thing you're going to need to do is pick a spot for your compost bin. You could pick a spot anywhere in your yard, but you want to keep a couple of things in mind. One, you don't want it right against your house or against any other structures. You want to give it a little bit of space between structures because compost bins can get really hot sometimes, and it's not unheard of for one to actually catch on fire. So having it next to your house or a shed or any other structures is not really a good idea. So you're going to want to make sure you put it away from other things. Another thing you want to think about is where you might want to put future garden beds. Putting your compost bin in a spot where you're going to plant a future garden bed can actually start getting nutrients into that ground beforehand. So think maybe 2 or 3 years down the road where you might want to put a new garden bed and consider putting your compost bin there. Once you have your spot selected, you're going to want to do a couple of things to get ready. One, you're going to need to wet the ground because you're going to have to get your posts buried, and the ground here in the desert is really hard. It's going to take you a little while to dig through it if it's rock hard. So if you wet it a little bit beforehand, that could save you a lot of work when you get ready to start putting it in. I purchased some of these posts at my local home improvement store thinking I could just step these stakes into the ground. Well, I knew better and I couldn't. The ground here in the desert is just too hard to be able to push something like this in without being able to hammer it. So I ended up having to dig out the holes anyways. But if you have soft ground in your yard or if you wet it far enough ahead of time, you might be able to use something like this and save yourself from having to dig. Another thing you need to do to your spot for your compost bin before you start to build is level it out. This isn't super important, it really doesn't matter, but I like to level it out because that helps to keep all the moisture from running away as it goes underneath the pile. It'll keep it under the pile where it can still be beneficial to the compost bin. Once you have your spot prepared, you're going to measure out where you're going to put your posts. The ideal size for your compost bin is 3 to 4 feet wide. So you're just going to measure out and put a post at each corner 3 to 4 feet apart. Once you have your posts installed in each corner, you're just going to put your chicken wire or your hardware cloth or whatever it is you're using to go around the outside, and you're going to attach it to each of the posts. If you're using wooden posts, you could just staple it to the post. That would be the easiest way. These plastic ones I purchased, they have these little clips on them, so hopefully those are going to work. I'm going to find out here in just a second. Anytime you're working with chicken wire or hardware cloth, you're going to want to be careful. You want to wear gloves and just be careful of the edges. When you cut the wire, it's going to be very sharp on the ends, so just be careful you don't end up poking yourself or cutting yourself while working with the chicken wire. I cut my chicken wire around the size of my compost bin area, and I'm just going to attach it to each of the posts on each corner. One good tip is to fold over the edge where you cut the chicken wire so that the sharp pieces aren't pointing out right on the edge. That way they're in a little bit, and it helps to protect a little bit more from someone walking by, one of your kids playing, or one of the dogs walking by or something like that. When you get to the last post and you've gone all the way around your compost bin, you're going to want to attach the last one in a way that you can remove it to be able to open and close it. This allows you to get in, to shovel it, to turn it, to do whatever you need to do in the compost bin without having to disassemble anything. With chicken wire, this could just be as easy as just wrapping it around and attaching it with a couple pieces of wire on the end here so that it doesn't come loose. And it'll work just fine. So this is our assembled compost bin. It's really simple. There's not much to it. The main idea is that you're going to keep all your stuff contained. It's going to allow air to get through, and you're going to be able to water it and get in to move it and turn it when needed. That's pretty much it, and you're ready to start filling it up with your compost. If you don't know anything about compost, this is the first compost video you've watched, make sure you watch my other videos. There'll be more coming out that are going to talk about how to compost, what you can put in it, and everything all the way to maintaining your compost pile and how to use that compost in your garden. Make sure you watch all those videos. They're all going to be on the channel. Thanks for watching. I hope you learned something about compost bins and how to build your own. You can save a little bit of money and have a compost bin that's going to do what it needs to do. It's not really pretty, but it's to serve a purpose in your garden, and that's all you're going to need. If you enjoyed this video or you got something from it, make sure you hit that like button. And if you want to get more content like this, more tips and tools to help you be successful in your backyard garden, make sure you subscribe so you can get all my latest videos. And hit the bell to turn on notifications. Thanks for watching. Have a good one.